'cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary, it's about to be legendary.
All right, guys, how do you do real estate when you don't have credit? How do you buy real estate? By the way, to buy leveraged real estate, do you have to have credit involved? Yes or yes? So by the way, someone has to put their credit in use to be able to buy real estate. We're going to talk about, obviously, if people can use their own credit to buy real estate, that's the best. But by the way, banks will usually allow you to use your credit on up to how many homes? Right now it's 10. That number is a shifting target. But once you get to 10 and you're like, I hacked the system, I'm making money, this is working, but guess what? The bank won't allow me, like, I guess I'm done. I guess I'm done? No, we need another way. So all credit has an expiration. And whether it's on your first house or your 10th home, eventually it's gonna expire. What I wanna do is I wanna share with you 3 different ways and pros and cons of what you can do in terms of actually leveraging credit different. By the way, if credit is an issue, the first option that you do have is that you can buy a house cash. What's the downside of this option? My ROI goes down when I buy things cash. You buy things paid off when you're ready to control assets without any leverage. And if you don't have enough residual income, that would be premature. So if you can't afford to live off of that low of an ROI, then you shouldn't do that option. Some people, by the way, gravitate towards this if they're big savers, or some people have saved up a lot of money and they'll want to go cash. I'll share with you one way this makes sense, but not right now. So for most people, this is a no. The second option is, if you can't get your credit in use, then you should what? Then you get someone else's, which is called a credit partner. Now here's what I require from my partners if they want to use a credit partner. I want them to bring the credit partner to the table, which means I want them to find a relationship with someone with good credit and a good job history that they trust. A good credit partner has at least 2 years at a job, so they've got consistency. And the other thing is they have generally a score of 680 or higher. The one thing I look for in a credit partner is I look for fiscally responsible people. They usually wear sweaters. They wear button-ups tied. They've got pleats on their pants, on their dockers. It's amazing, but this accountant, engineering, financially, fiscally conservative type, it's a slice of people out there. And these people often are too scared to invest in real estate because it feels like too high of a risk. But if you tell them, I'll write you a $2,000 check if you buy this house on your credit, and I'll give you 5% of the net proceeds at sale. Notice I didn't say cash flow along the way. I get something at the start and I get something at the end. And at the end, 5% of net proceeds means after my down payment's been paid back. So if I got a $100,000 check, but I had a $40,000 down payment and $10 other thousand of things that need to be paid back and $50,000 was profit, what's 5% of $50,000? It's $2,500. So I got paid $2,000 here, $2,500 there. I got paid $4,500 for just using my credit, putting up no money. How many of you think that that type of person would love that? One of my partners helped me buy 3 houses. He made $17,000 over 7 years. Thrilled about using his credit in that capacity. So with my partners, I say, if you need credit, you're going to feel most comfortable with someone that you know. So we show them how to find this person, and then they help us find a credit partner, and then we work out the magic of using their credit to buy the house. Now, by the way, is this legal? 100%. Are they on the LLC? No. We have a contractual agreement. They are not part of the LLC, and that contract is on that per property. Does that make sense? So by the way, this is viable. This has been one of my favorite ways to get around credit. But I always ask my partners to help find people that they feel comfortable with as credit partners, because they're the ones that need to feel most comfortable about what we're doing here. By the way, who's responsible for making all the mortgage payments? The credit partner or us? We're not giving them any money. We're managing the whole thing. So a credit partner's concern is, what happens if you don't make the payments? Then my credit will be destroyed. And we say, we put down 20% down payment. We also don't like losing $50,000 or whatever it is. So they feel comfortable. On our side, however, if the credit partner got into financial problems and let's say owed people money, and then the investment property, someone tried to lien it, That could be a problem for us, but we've put it in an LLC to protect us from them. So we have our protection too. We found that both sides have their protection and that for the most part it works out. So the big thing here is just finding the right relationship, and there's tons of people out here that can do that. The other option, my preferred option, is whenever I have a partner who has some credit challenges, but they want to buy property, we have a different strategy that we use. So in our company, we actually have, as an officer of my own company, and my officers in the company, we actually have a security. It's a private placement memorandum called a PPM. And I'm just going to conceptually help you understand what this means. We actually have an account that can be used to actually accept people's money that they would put into real estate. And what we do with this is we are able to put those funds together, and these people, we go and we actually buy the homes cash. And then I can take a group of these homes to special banks, and they will allow us to relend and mortgage them up to 60% based on the performance of the property, not a person's personal credit worthiness. Does this make sense? So basically, you know, if everyone at this table had money for real estate, illustratively speaking, and didn't have the credit, that money could all come into this special type of an account, and then we would go and buy some homes cash, and then I'd go to banks that will allow us to leverage up to 60% back. When we get that 60% back, guess what we do? We go buy more homes cash, and we do the same thing, usually 3 turns worth. Overall, the ROI, when we do it this way, it goes down a little bit. And because of that, when I help my partners do it this way, instead of our typical 50-50 arrangement, it looks more like a 70-30 arrangement with 70% in my partner's favor. What we do is we're doing that to compensate for the drop in ROI so that it more or less equalizes things and allows them to basically get in the game. And we don't need credit partners, and we don't need them to tie up all their money in cash. We can do it in batches where we can go to the bank and actually pull it out. Does that make sense? So if that's an option, if any of our partners talk to our team about that, they let us know that they want to learn more about that, and we have password protected videos, and then they need some conversations with officers of the company to explain more of the details on what that looks like. So we've gotten creative on our side to basically say, if there is any type of credit hindrance whatsoever, we do have options. And my partners can come to the table and say, hey, I have loads of money, let's go cash. Even though my ROI is down, I'm okay with that. That almost never happens. Then you have those that are like, hey, I can find some people that I can use to actually be the credit partner. Or if they say I don't want to do that, then we also have a viable option. This ends up being hands down the most popular because I'm able to preserve really strong ROI, but not need to worry about the credit at all. Does that make sense? For this option right here, it is important for them to talk to an officer in the company because of how we actually have legally structured this entity to be able to do this. There's guidelines and laws and rules that we need to follow, and so there's a process that we go through for this. This is a fantastic way to help people basically produce the same result without having to worry about leveraging their own credit. Kris, you want to add anything on that?
I think that's a good takeaway.
Okay, perfect, awesome. Okay, so friends, are there ways to buy real estate even if you can't use your own credit? Where we're about to head right now is we're now going to take everything that we've learned in this training and we're going to put it all together and talk about what are next steps.